Welcome back to Southpaw Picks, and you're here with your host Charles, and this is UFC Covington versus Masvidal, and what an astounding pay-per-view we got ahead of us. 13 fights on the docket, and I don't know about you, seeing the press conference, seeing the weigh-ins, I'm juiced up. I can't wait to see how this fight unfolds, and there's so many other fun fights on this card. But before we get into that, as you know, we're doing one show a week. We're just gonna go a week back real quick, so I will leave the tag in here if you want to skip ahead to the new breakdown, but we're just going to go over how we did last week. Last week was actually one of our lower performing weeks that we've had this year, but we still end up above 500. We go 6-5 on our predictions, holding our prediction rate for this year still up in the high 70s, mid to low 70s, and even though we took a minus 1.5 unit loss, I was saying going into this card with so much debuts to keep it low. So even though we're coming off back-to-back losing weeks, the unit losses are both combined under 2 units. Even though we were firing off big unit bets early in the year, we got us such a huge ground to make up. We're going to start our hot streak off with this upcoming pay-per-view. Now, quick recap. Obviously, Islam did his thing. One of my favorite plays that we had on that card was definitely Priscilla Cachoeira as a plus 160 dog. I love that spot. We didn't hit the Joel Alvarez play, but, sometimes that happens. Sometimes your guy goes in there, takes a slip, and then, gets put in a situation where a guy's on top of him completely dry and full guard. But overall, great card. And but enough of that. Let's move on to UFC 272. And we are going to kick it off, guys, from the main event down, and you already know we got the headliners. We got Colby Chaos Covington versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Now this fight is at 170. It's a welterweight fight, and as you know, friends turn foes, training partners now enemies. We've heard the storylines, but how's this fight gonna play out? Now, I've had the opportunity to watch so much film this week and really just take into consideration that a lot of stock has been put into the fact that Colby Covington had 2 close striking battles with Kamaru Usman, who's primarily not a striker, right? Has a wrestling base, and his striking has developed. But, I mean, how many people is Kamaru Usman really going to win a 25-minute striking affair with? The fact that he's pretty much won majority of these rounds striking with Colby just shows you there's a hole in Colby's game. Colby's got great pace. He's got decent wrestling. But when we really take a look at the resume here, Colby Covington doesn't have a win over any current top 10 welterweights, right? I'm looking at some of these W's, right? He's beaten Tyron Woodley, in the 5th round at the age of 38, right? He's beating Robbie Lawler in his tender year, 37 when they faced, right? And, it's funny, a lot of these things line up because Jorge is what? In the same ballpark with these guys, right? I would say Colby's best win was Rafael dos Santos, who you already know was a lightweight going up to featherweight. Now, and keep in mind, there was one scorecard that was 49-46, but the other 2 had it 48-47. So if RDA steals one more round, he arguably could have won a split decision there. Now, obviously, Jorge, who's been in the trenches kind of fighting top-tier guys, I would say actually has the tougher strength of schedule when you really look at it. Like, obviously Usman, but he had the Darren Till, he had the Stephen Thompson, a lot of guys that are actually, well, Darren Till moved to middleweight, but Stephen Thompson was still in the top 10 of the welterweight department. I like Colby Covington here in this spot. I think he does win, but I do like a prop that I'm going to suggest. A friend brought it up to me, and I like the lean. If you're going to take anything here, if you're not going to parlay Colby, which I don't think he should be a minus 300 favorite. I think that's just, he's overvalued in that spot. I like Jorge by decision, plus 1,000 I've been seeing. So if you want to sprinkle that on it, it's okay. My pick to win, I'm just going to go with the younger, fresher fighter with the grappling advantage. But I do think this fight is going to be way closer than the line suggests. So for the first pick and the main event pick, I'm going with Colby Covington. But the fight will play out way closer than we think. Now we're moving on down to the co-main event here. A fight with RDA, Rafael dos Anjos versus Renato Moicano. Now, we are coming off a recent victory with Moicano with the submission over Alex Hernandez. We also bet him again to get that submission against Jai Herbert. But come on, the level of competition here, Alex Hernandez, I guess some people give him the benefit of the doubt to say he's elite. But, a lot has to be said about Renato's ability because he's been fighting, top tier opponents, right? This is a catch rate at 160. And, taking this final 48 notice, it's a 25-minute fight. RDA is not going to have to do the additional cut. And Renato Moicano more than likely is still going to have to cut a bit of weight. There's 13 losses on Dos Anjos' record. Granted, it's against guys like Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Leon Edwards, like top guys. And then you can see these wins scribbled in. I mean, I guess you can see these wins in between these losses to guys like Kevin Lee, Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny, Paul Felder. I just don't know where he's at in his career. At the tender age of 37, we definitely know RDA is going to give you decent fight IQ, great pressure, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, decent striking. Moicano, though, is the prototype of a guy that you think should be able to get this done. I just don't like the short notice factor here. And with that being said, I do love Renato Moicano as an underdog here, but I just feel like if this was a planned training camp, maybe a 3-round fight, I'd feel way more comfortable. But I'm going to side with the favorite here. Definitely a no bet, but I'm going to side with RDA here to get it done via decision. Maybe losing the early rounds, but still having enough gas to continue the pace and win out a 5-round fight. So I like Rafael Dos Anjos to pick up another lightweight win. But it's a catchweight at 160, so pick up another win, even though it's going to probably hold into the lightweight division. Moving on down, one of my favorite fights of the card here, we got a featherweight bout between Edson Barboza versus Bryce Mitchell. Now, Bryce Mitchell undefeated, 27 years old, coming out of Arkansas. Great character when it comes to personalities in the UFC. I actually really like Bryce Mitchell here. What I don't get is why we're getting Barboza as an underdog. I feel like those odds are a gift. It's a gift because this fight, there's no way, in my opinion, Bryce Mitchell's gonna go out here and dominate Barboza. Let's look at these wins coming on here. Bobby Moffitt, is he in the UFC? I don't believe so. Matt Sales, yes. Bryce Mitchell landed that twister that got us all like, oh my God, wow, Bryce Mitchell's a great grappler. Matt Sales just got inverted triangle by the Monkey King, Jordan Lovett. Clearly his jiu-jitsu is not up to par. Charles Rosa, who's just been getting absolutely dominated by anybody with a grappling game. I'm talking Derek Minner, David Jackson. And I don't think Charles Rosa's won a fight recently, except for Justin James, who's quickly been exiled the UFC. Now, I'm going to premise this by saying I did pick Andre Fili against Bryce Mitchell, and that fight was close. It played out a lot like how I imagined, but I thought Fili would win that 3rd round and get the win, man. Bryce slowed down so much. You could tell that when he's not getting his takedowns, he does not have much on the feet. It's very desperate. And this was in the apex, so, there wasn't too much room for Andre to get out of here. Man, I don't think Bryce has faced anybody the level of Barboza. Barboza's actually out here fighting the top featherweights. Giga Chikante, Shane Burgos, Dan Ige. These are top 10 cats, right? And then even his history in the lightweight division. Let's not forget the fact that Khabib Nurmagomedov went 4 of 13 on takedowns against Edson Barboza at 155. He's the bigger man. He's got a 5-inch reach advantage. He's very skilled. He's got dynamite kicks, a striking game that Bryce Mitchell isn't ready for. I like his story. I like who he is. Barboza as the underdog. Give me that all day. That's free money. And the line is actually stretched up even higher. Please continue to prop it up because if I can get Barboza plus 160, plus 170, I might just be loading up single after single. The pick there is Edson Barboza, and I love this spot. Moving down the card, we got a welterweight debut for my boy Kevin Holland here versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Kevin Holland minus 300 favorite. Definitely not a fan of that number, right? We know there's a way to beat Kevin Holland. We've seen it enough times. Alex Oliveira is a very, very game opponent. He throws heavy shots, decent leg kicks. He's got decent grappling. The only thing we've seen is that he gets tired, right? He's a bit battle worn, and you can definitely see in the fight where he's ready to pack up and go home. Now, we already know what Kevin Holland is. Clean, straight punches down the middle. Very unorthodox with his kicking game. He's got unique guard down there. Great trips, great inside trips, but he's been kind of finding difficulty at the top tier in the middleweights from the bigger guys just holding him down. I don't think he's going to suffer that here. I do think he's been working on his ground game, and I like Kevin Holland here. At minus 300, man, he probably is the side, but Alex Oliveira is going to make you guys sweat if you guys got Kevin Holland in here. And if Kevin Holland goes out there and starches him and knocks him out, I'd love to see if the welterweight division. As you know, Kevin Holland already has a knockout win over Jeff Neal in the regional scene. And you know Jeff Neal is a monster. I like Kevin Holland here without going into it too much. Alex Oliveira seems that he's okay with losing these days. And this would be a fourth loss in a row. I got to go with the younger, the crisper striker, and the bigger man. How much of a reach advantage is the boy Holland going to have? 4.5. You know, that's spectacular in this matchup. But he's got to be weary because Oliveira is game early and you kind of got to break him late. Moving on down to the main card opener here. We got a heavyweight bout between Sergey Spivak versus Greg Hardy. Now, this fight can go one of two ways. Sergey Spivak gets completely knocked out within 60 seconds of the first round, like we've seen him suffer to guys like Tom Aspinall and Walt Harris, right? He lost a decision to Marcin Tybura, though. Keep that in mind. And obviously, Marcin Tybura is no joke. Then you look at a guy like Greg Hardy, who you see he's beating guys that are no longer in the UFC, and he's losing to top-tier guys, right? This is a very binary fight in the sense that, first of all, Hardy doesn't have as much reach as I would suspect him to have in this matchup. Greg Hardy either wins in under 60 seconds, KOs Sergey Spivak, or he is going to get taken down repeatedly, and Sergey will find the finish, whether it's a submission or ground and pound late. We know Greg Hardy has gas tank issues. We know Greg Hardy's okay to quit in there. You know, when Marcin Tybura had that full guard on him, it was really shocking to see such a big man just, you know, cover up like this. He didn't want no more. He was done. No mas. Even though he may have almost 60 pounds, think about this. He may have almost 60 pounds on Sergey in this matchup. Such a tricky fight to bet with these heavyweights. One punch can change everything. And Greg Hardy, you know, like, let's be real, he's been thrown in the deep end. He's been trying to make it work. I think Sergey's going to get the takedown. I think he wins late. Very volatile fight here, but I'm going to go with Sergey. Second round submission. And I like him in this spot. You know, usually I bet on Sergey. He's a decent guy when it comes to wiping the floor with low-level, middling heavyweights. I just got to respect the power of Greg Hardy here, and I'm just going to stay away. But I like Sergey Spivak, gun to my head. Moving on down, we're going now to the prelim headliner. We got an amazing fight here between Jalin Turner and Jamie Mullarkey. Now, Jamie Mullarkey, I'm going to start with him. What a dog. What a talented individual. Crazy, he's only 27. Great boxing. Just great overall striking. I can't even say just the boxing. Great overall striking. So tough. Decent grappling. And to me, I think he's an improving fighter. He keeps getting better and better. Jalin Turner, he's a firecracker, man. He comes right out. Very dangerous. He's riding a 3-fight finish streak. Obviously, the guy is Josh Killabow. Up a weight class. That's a featherweight. Brock Weaver out the UFC. Excuse me. Euros Medic, that was his debut. Let's go all over to strength of competition. Jamie Mullarkey obviously knocked out Conor Worthy. That's not impressive. Finishes Devonte Smith, who is very similar to Jalin Turner when it comes to elite athleticism and straight punching. Just a dog in there. Farasiem, I actually had Farasiem in this play here. I got away with the one because I do believe after rewatching that for that fight early on against CM, I think Jamie Mullarkey won that fight. So in my opinion, he's on a 3-fight win streak, and his only loss being to Brad Riddell, a ranked fighter, and then Alex Volkanovski, right? I mean, of the notable losses he has. I think Mullarkey's the real deal. I know he's at a 3-inch height advantage. 3-inch. He's a 3-inch height disadvantage here to Jalin Turner, but only 1.5 inches of reach. You'd be surprised, right? You think Jalin Turner has a much longer reach considering his frame, but no. And I like the strength of Jamie. I like the power of JB, and I like the aggression. I also like the fact that he's a bit more battle tested than Jalin Turner. As much as I like Jalin Turner, if you really look at it, without these 3 finishes on low level guys, Jalin Turner is 8-5. Like, already 5 early losses in his career. I was hearing an interview him talking about this hasn't been his best training camp, and I'm wondering if those are just seeds he's planting out there to kind of let you know that this wasn't his best training camp, and maybe you should be weary of it. I wasn't planning to take Jalin Turner at all in this matchup. I'm going with Jamie Mullarkey. I think he's just a better overall fighter here, and to me, he's a dog, and you want this type of dog in a dog fight, man. This is going to be an explosive fight, and I think Jamie is going to last the first round and eventually wear on Jalin Turner. We've kind of seen this matchup before play out with Matt Frevola, and obviously I know Matt Frevola has better wrestling than I would say Jamie Mullarkey has, but not better striking. And one thing they both have is toughness, and as you can see, looking at it here, if Jalin Turner's not getting you out of here, he's losing. So I like Jamie Mullarkey in this spot. And I like him to get 3 in a row and move up the lightweight rankings. Moving on down, we got a wonderful strawweight fight between Marina Rodriguez versus Xiaonan. And man, very, very excellent fight. I was actually taping this, trying to see if I could have a lean on Yan to maybe get the upset here at this number, but I just can't get to it. As much as she has decent boxing, she leads with her head. And Marina's got power, man. She's got power. She's mean. She's nasty. She's coming off 2 5-round fights where she's just really feeling herself out here. Even though it's Mackenzie Durham, not really known for her striking. Even though it's Michelle Watterson, right? It's just the ferocity she throws with. Her knees in the clinch are patient. She's got knockout power. And, like, the strength of competition is not even close. Like, Yan's best win is against Claudia Gadelha. She's retired. Karolina Kovacevic, unanimous decision. Jessica Penne got that girl out in a round. As much as I like Yan and I like her style, I like that little sidekick she pokes out. Maybe she can maintain distance. Her bread and butter is in the boxing, and I just feel like she's at a severe power advantage here, even though she has better footwork. Would I be surprised if she shoots for the takedown, fighting out a team alpha male? No. And as much as I like Marina in this spot, I'm not going to bet her. The line is too high, minus 270. It was actually minus 300 early in the week, so maybe some people are taking their little shots on Yan because it might be worth the play. This is going to decision. I don't see Marina KOing her, but if anybody's getting KO'd, Yan's going to fall victim to Marina Rodriguez's power. So I'm going to go with Marina Rodriguez, and I think she deserves a title shot after this. And if not, I think she goes up against the other Chinese superstar, Weili Zhang. So I like Marina in this matchup. Moving on down, we got a light heavyweight matchup between Negumereanu. I don't even know how to say that. We'll just call him Nick. Even though he has a crazy last name, I picked him to beat Ike Villanova, and I picked him against Alexa Kmore as a big underdog. Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Man, you see these names they're trying to kill us with? This is going to be funny on the broadcast, right? Kennedy and Nzechukwu, big ass, huge athlete. 6'5", huge reach. Just a tank of a human being. But somebody that is out there and he just doesn't look comfortable, right? He doesn't look comfortable. And then we have a guy in Nick who's just a dog. He's coming forward. He's swinging bombs. He's utilizing a lot of energy. The beautiful thing about Kennedy is he has a lot of experience with guys that are like this, guys that explode most of their gas tank and use most of their effort in the first round. Kennedy's durable. He's going to hang in there. He's eventually going to poke out this jab. Nick is there to be hit. He's going to poke out this jab. And I'm saying Nick because I ain't even attempted the Negumereanu last name, right? I love Kennedy in this spot. Can't bet Kennedy because he's very untrustworthy. After taking those elbows by Dong Jung, and I know Dong hasn't lost in 15 fights. I just can't bring myself to trust him yet. but I'm picking him to win this matchup. He's got the reach, he's got the size, and I think he's got the durability here. And when it comes to both these guys, there's one guy I would say Kennedy's a little bit more defensively responsible with the high guard, and I feel like if the fight gets to the exhausting point where they're both tired, that reach is going to come into play when Nick is leading with his head forward. So I'm going to go with Kennedy and Nzechukwu to get the win here, and I think he gets a third round KO. Moving on down, very fun fight at flyweight. We got Marina Moroz versus Mariya Agapova. Now, Mariya Agapova, very, very excellent striker. Comes out of Kazakhstan. You already know those guys don't play around out there. Excellent striker, excellent power, very young, very aggressive. Looks like she changed her name to Demon Slayer here, which is pretty interesting. And then we got a girl in Moroz who's very well rounded. She's got great boxing. She's got decent takedown ability, good in the clinch. This is a tough fight to call. Why is Moroz the big underdog? I can't tell you. There's a lot of stock that's put into Agapova, and I loved her as an underdog against Sabina Mazo last time, but that's Sabina Mazo, right? So there's a prototype of opponent that beats Sabina, and there's a prototype of opponent that Sabina beats at her current juncture. She's very young, so she'll get better. I gotta say that the 30-year-old, more complete fighter in Moroz here, I think she gets it done. I think she pulls up the upset, and I like Agapova. I think she has power in her hands. She's excellent, but at 24 years old, I think there's just so much more for her to learn. And a seasoned veteran in Moroz who knows how to win a fight in decision, has had a high level of opposition, right? Marina Silva, Sabina, Angela Hill, Carla Esparza, and this was at flyweight. I mean, this was at strawweight. And this fight is at flyweight. This is actually a very compelling storyline here. She's only had 2 fights at flyweight. And prior to that, Mariya Agapova is beating up girls like Hannah Cyphers, losing to Shauna Dobson, and then beating Mazo. I think we got to go with Moroz here. I know she's Ukrainian. She's coming with a whole lot of baggage here. But I like her to just edge out a really close decision. And in a coin flip fight, you gotta go with the plus 160 underdog here. So I like Moroz to win a unanimous decision, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's a split decision too. These girls are gonna go out there and bang. They got animosity. It's gonna be a good one. Moving on down, we got cousin Umar Nurmagomedov versus Brian Boom Kelleher. Now I'm gonna make this short and sweet. We got Umar, who's a minus 1,000 favorite. Very difficult to bet, but you know what? He's plus 130 to finish the fight. I'm going to take him to finish this fight. I know Brian is durable. I know Brian will put it on you if you're not an elite fighter. But I think cousin Umar is just too good. His kicks, his boxing, his grappling. He's the new school, man. And for a guy 26 years old, 13-0, he ain't fighting no scrubs. He ain't fighting no gimmies. He's beating some high-level opposition. I like him here to win this by rear naked choke in the second round, after completely dominating Brian Kelleher. And Brian Boom, he ain't no joke. But I think Umar is going to ring bells and make noise in the bantamweight division. And I'm also surprised this is at featherweight, so he's not even cutting the extra 10 pounds. He looked way bigger at the weigh-ins today. I don't know if you saw that. Way bigger in the weigh-ins. He got a 5-inch reach advantage. I think Umar gets the finish here by rear naked choke. And I think he gets it done early. Moving on down, we got a flyweight bout between Tagir Ulanbekov versus Tim Elliott. Man, you see, I like my Russian names. They're a lot easier to pronounce than that Moldova name that we saw earlier on the card. But anyways, Tim Elliott, you already know him. Awkward MMA, like Dominic Cruz, if he's, grew up in a different neighborhood, right? Very unorthodox with his striking, decent leg kicks, decent movement. But at the end of the day, he's a wrestler. And he's going to try and get into these grappling exchanges. And at the age of 35, all these losses he's taken, Tagir, who's just had a slow progression to his career and just completely, in my opinion, finding some really tough guys. Alan Nascimento was legit on the ground. Bruno Silva, is on a run right now. I like the age advantage. I like the size. I like the reach. I like that Khabib is undefeated as far as coaching goes in this league. And Tagir is no joke. He's got relentless wrestling. And we've seen Tim Elliott gas out scrambling with Brandon Royval. I think this happens here. I think Tagir can actually get the rear naked choke as well. I think Umar and Tagir are going to get submissions back to back to back. Maybe that's something you want to parlay. Tagir is my parlay anchor this week. I know a lot of people trying to make cases for Tim Elliott. Yeah, he's got decent wrestling. He's going to make it difficult out there. The leg kick. Tagir kind of is heavy on that lead leg, so it's there to be hit. I just don't see it, man. I think this is going to be a steamrolling situation. Give me Tagir Ulanbekov and give me to win. Sorry, it's very late night. Give me Tagir by rear naked choke. Moving on down, we got Ľudovít Klein versus Devonte Smith. Now, Ľudovít is taking this fight on short notice. And he's coming off a really disappointing performance where he lost as a big favorite to my boy Nate Landwehr, where he just looked horrible out there. He was getting walked down. He was getting pressured. And he's one of those guys that, doesn't look good when he's getting pressured. The benefit to this is he's fighting a guy, too, that doesn't like to be pressured. So someone here is going to have to take a step forward. Now, I personally just can't trust Devonte Smith with my money. After what happened with the fight with Jamie Mullarkey. But in the same tone, I really do believe Jamie Mullarkey is legit. This fight's up a weight class. I think the featherweight cut for Ľudovít is probably taking back a little bit of his aggression, but he has a decent head kick. He has decent boxing. I just think Devonte Smith is going to be too fast here. I think he's the bigger guy. And Devonte Smith sells you wolf tickets because you can see the talent, you see the athleticism, you see it there, but it's like when the fight comes to him, he doesn't respond the best way. And a guy that's been finished in all three of his fights that he's lost, maybe the fight not to go to decision is the best option here. But I'm going to side with the Factory X product and Devonte Smith. Klein's taking this fight on short notice. He's got the left high kick that's nasty, but I'm going to go with Devonte Smith to win a close decision. But, if this line continues to swell, I don't wrong anybody that would take Klein as a dog in this situation. But Devonte Smith is my pick. Moving on down, reluctantly. Don't put your money on him. Moving on down to the curtain jerker, as they say, the prelim opener. And what a great fight we have here. We have Dustin Jacoby versus Michelle Oleksiejczuk. Lord Oleksiejczuk. And both guys very credited when it comes to the striking department. Obviously, Jacoby the more of the natural light heavyweight here. Maybe Michelle probably could drop down and fight at middleweight. But, he hangs in here and plays with the big boys. He's got nasty shots to the body. He's got nasty uppercuts. He's got great pressure. And a kicker like Dustin Jacoby, who likes to, poke out that league leg and get you, stop you in your tracks when you're trying to progress. That southpaw stance, I do see the overhand right connecting. Now, I'm going to side with the momentum here in Dustin Jacoby. I think he's just on a run. I think that break he took from MMA has put him in a great position to succeed. I was pretty much all over Dustin in my parlays early on. And then I had to dial it back because I do understand the pressure and the boxing of Michelle is dangerous here. And I'm only going to have him in one official play that I'll be releasing to you guys. But I do love Dustin Jacoby. He's been cashing me out left, right, and center. Even that draw with Ian Kuntalaba, as sketchy as that was, he's just been progressing. Decent wins here. Darren Stewart, John Allen, Maxime Grisham. And then on the other side, Michelle's beating up guys like Shamil Gazitov, Modestas Bukowskis, in the split decision. I actually thought he lost that. And with that being said, he easily could have lost 3 out of his last 5. But I'm going with Dustin Jacoby, and I like him to win it by unanimous decision. Now, we got a 13-fight card here. Don't force anything, guys. Don't force anything. Find your spots, and let's continue to be profitable. I'm not investing no more than 2 units on this card. As you can see, we're slowing it down. I like that we're up 10 units, and we're going to continue to progress that through the year and not give the money back to the bookies. Now, early on, I'll tell you my early leads here. I like Edson Barboza. I like Tagir Ulanbekov. I think those guys should be your main pieces to any parlays you build out throughout the week here. Dogs that I love in this spot. I love Marina Moroz, honestly. As much as I'm a fan of Agapova, I think Maryna could win this decision. Jamie Mullarkey as a dog, I love him in that spot as well. And as much as I don't want to get involved, I can't understand why someone would take the shot on Renato Moicano. I just would much rather him with a full training camp. So the dogs that I like, Marina Moroz, Jamie Mullarkey, put some singles on that. And as far as parlay goes, you got to have the Tagir, you got to have the Barboza, and you got to throw a little Jacoby there off to the side. Don't put him in everything, but mix him up. He's such a high-level fighter, and I love him in this spot. This is Southpaw Picks. I just want to say thank you guys for showing up. These Friday shows, I want to get them out a little earlier due to the pay-per-view with the late ceremony weigh-ins, and then me arriving late to do the video here. I just want to apologize for that. And let's go beat up the bookies. So happy to be back to be talking to you guys. And let's continue making money. What a card we got coming up. Thank you for watching Southpaw Picks. This is Charles. Catch you later.